Good evening, everyone. Welcome to SAFC Fan TV Extra Time. Here with me, Mike from Black Cats Nation, and Conrad. How you doing, Conrad?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yourself?
I'm good. And Jacob Kirkbride in this country this time. Last time you were on the channel, you were sailing away on the seven seas.
Yeah, it's good to be back, mate. It's good to be back and on cloud nine still after the euphoria I experienced on Sunday that I didn't expect. Put it out there.
Yeah, you were there, right?
Yeah, it was tremendous, mate. Absolutely, definitely the best first home league game of the season I can remember following Sunderland in my lifetime. I know we've had some iconic ones over the years, but in terms of just how the day panned out from start to finish, even pre and post match, particularly post match, where the happiness amongst people in the city, particularly in the new sheepfolds gaff, which is open near the stadium, was just a joy to see, mate.
Yeah, excellent result. You were there as well. This is the first, was it? It's not that one you were at, Conrad, was it? It was the
I'm
one
there
you went to, isn't it?
I'm there this Saturday. My first Sunderland game in person since the Wickham playoff final.
See, I've got an excuse. I'm 150 miles away. What's your excuse?
Well, my excuse was I didn't actually go much. I had a season ticket that season we got promoted, but I didn't go much because we had a newborn. So I was just sort
What the hell am I saying? Jacob goes to home games. What's your excuse? What's your round trip,
300 miles away.
300.
Yeah, so I just spent the weekends looking after my son and watching them on the telly. Instead, became a bit easy to be an armchair supporter. And now we stream them, of course. So we've got a duty to deliver the people what they want, which is the A team of me and you streaming games.
Well, no, see, I'm going to be cursed here because I couldn't make that first game, and Philly and Emma did it. Then I did the Preston one, but that was a cup game, didn't count. But I couldn't make the last one, and we've won. We play Burnley, and I'm on there on my own, and we lose 10-0. Nobody's going to want me to stream again.
I know. They'll be like, can we bring Conrad and Philly back for the weeks after?
But anyway, on the game, my end of scoring has got to be an absolute boost. Jacob, talk us through the goals because you were there. Because, I mean, the atmosphere is completely different when you're not watching a screen.
Yeah. I mean, the first goal in particular, it typifies what Libri has wanted to improve on this side after watching, because you can tell he's definitely watched some of the performances towards the back end of last season where the set piece execution was horrendous, put it that way. I think the only time I can remember us scoring one was the last time we played Sheff. I think one of the previous times we played Sheff, which was Ballard at their gaff. I think it was almost a year ago now, and then 2 in 2 games. It was just perfect. The way how you watch it back, and it was very clever from the rest of the players, blocking off a lot of the Sheff Wed lads in a big circle and not noticing that Sirkin was just like crawling round the back in order for him to get his head on it. And it was just a perfectly floated ball in from Roberts. I know, obviously, some would say it was terrible marking from their front, but it was clever play. It was those sort of goals are very satisfying to watch because it's well worked. You can tell it's something they've been practicing on during the week, and it was similar to the Cardiff one the previous week. Second one, it's what happened. Another Libri trait that he's inflicted on this side: high press. That's what he's done. The midfield. Bellingham has injected that into his game now, winning the ball back in tight areas when the opposition have it in their own half. And Mayenda, you have to remember though, when he received the ball, he still had a fair bit to do. He had 2 centre-halves closing in on him, and it was just a brilliant left-footed finish from the side of his foot. I thought he would have gone the other side of the goal across the keeper, but the fact he got it in on the near side was just a joy to see. And third one, it was game over by that point after 25 minutes, Luke 09. I think we were just waiting from where I sat in the ground. I must hold my hands up. I'm sure a lot of people did in that part of the stadium thought the offside flag was going to go up Danny Roll. Their gaffer on the touchline was going absolutely ballistic. But then again, what was strange was if you look at the Sky coverage, there was a guy on their coaching staff with a laptop watching the game, sat on the bench, which, like, surely you would see that it was onside when you've got, like,
sit down, boss. Sit down, boss.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly. And couldn't understand it. It was like, well, until you watch, obviously, the Sky coach was Josh Windass playing him on, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Windass played them all on by about a foot.
And I'll this is what I'll hold my hands up. I was enjoying my halftime beverages a bit too much when my ender put in the fourth. So unfortunately, I missed it, mate. But which a lot of people did, by the way. They were still drinking at halftime. So
they're probably still celebrating because it's been a while since we've gone in at halftime with such a result like that, you know. So it's more surprising because the competition who it is against, Conrad, wasn't it? It was we were expecting more from Chef Wed, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, the way they ended last season under Danny Rowland, I know it was only Plymouth Argyle, but they sort of ripped them apart first game. So yeah, I think a few of us were expecting a tougher game, but like you say, Labrie just seemed to just get it. I mean, I thought from watching it, the first 5-10 minutes, I was sitting there going, okay, we need to be careful, we need to be a bit tighter. But as soon as we got one, they fell apart, and I think Windass had a game to forget because he's the one who lost Sirkin for the first goal. He's the one who tried the fancy flick that 09 robbed it off straight to my ender, and he's the one who played them all onside for the third goal. So I don't know if he'd quite gone off yet by the time the fourth one went in, but he was shortly whipped off in the second half anyway.
He had a stinker there.
It was nice for me to see as well, even 2 or 3-0 up, Labrie still out there on the edge of the technical area, telling people to push up and to press and stuff like that. We're not sitting back. We're not like parking the bus at 1-0, 2-0.
There was a good moment, and actually, just sorry to interrupt you, there was a good moment about 5-10 minutes in where Chef Wed seemed to be in a bit of control, and they cut to him, and he just sort of pointed at the back four, and he just went, as in drop back a bit, and it was actually a bit like, oh wow, okay, you're actually, you're not just sort of sitting there going, oh, they'll figure it out themselves. He actually sort of went drop 5 or 10 and just sort of fill that space, and then we'll move out. And that's exactly what we did. And they're listening to him straight away and getting results from it.
Yeah. It looks like he's got the team already, doesn't it?
I couldn't tell whether the first 10 minutes, whether we played with a little bit of nerves or the fact it was sort of similar to the second half of Cardiff, where we were sort of happy to concede possession a little bit until we won the ball back and we could do our thing, because we were allowing them to have a little bit more space than usual in the wide areas, but they didn't really offer much when they did get the ball into the box. We had a well-organised centre-half pairing in 09 and Elise to clear up, and Sirkin dropping back as
whatever he did,
half at times.
Whatever he did, he changed it sort of within 5-10 minutes of seeing their plan of attack, and sort of went, right, we need to change it and do drop 5 and then get it in this area. And they never really recovered from that. Whereas how many times have we watched a game where we've seen the plan from the other team and we're like, change it, move this, move that, and they just don't. They just sit there.
He is reacting well to stuff like that, so it's looking promising. It really is. I like him as a manager, definitely do. So I mean, what's your verdict on Labrie? Like overall, we'll go for you first, Jacob. Like we've had 3 games, as it were.
You know what? I think we're going to see a type of manager in the dugout that loves mind games this season. I think he's going to be a strong contender for that out of all the managers in this division. But what I loved also was the fact he had the players in the tunnel before the start of the second half, right up until we were about to kick. Like basically, just allowed Chef Wed to be on the pitch for just minutes without us joining them.
I noticed that.
Yeah, which I thought was brilliant.
He just kept them back. Yeah. Like, don't let if they've got this urgency of getting back in the game, let's just slow them down that little bit more. And then they'll think we're going to come out and be lethargic. And 40 seconds in, we were 4-0 up.
No.
Yeah, well, you're fired up, aren't you, when you're running out for half time? If you're fired up and you run straight out and the ball's off, then you're on it. But you've got stood there waiting. Where's the other team? It does make sense, it's good. So, I mean, the scary thing is, I think Philly brought it up on the Sunday bunch. Is this then going to say like, oh, we don't need a striker now because Mienda's scoring?
What do you mean, my ender? Luke O'Nine's got 2 as well.
Luke O'Nine's going to be Golden Boot winner this year.
Yeah.
But
Poacher's finished that goal of his, the second one.
as far as I'm hearing through the grapevine, we can fire SAFC Tom. We can, he can have him back.
His loan's been terminated. Or
something. Mad Mistake can have him back because he's told us Mendy was a done deal. But what I'm hearing is they've gone back again and demanded more money. So that's all.
You knew they were going to do that. You knew it.
Yeah. So you think that's a done deal? Do you think that's gone? Done and dusted?
There's no way we're going to pay over, because I heard we put it up to 3 million. I think that was the latest bid, but there was no way we are going to pay over 3 million for a player that's 30 plus. Not a chance.
No, not a chance. And I think as well, we know that they're just taking the mick here a little bit, that they're just trying their luck to get more out of it than initially was agreed, and it's new owners for him. So I don't think he's their only iron in the fire, as it were. There's rumours of, is it Jefferson on loan from Bournemouth always gets linked with us as well. There's the one we were trying to discuss before about how to pronounce his name, Wilson from the Tom Hanks film Castaway.
But that Houston lad, I think he's more or less gone to Watford. I think it's 90% done now, apparently.
Jewison Bennett. Oh, Jefferson, sorry, from
Jefferson.
Yeah, sorry. I'm with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, you brought him up, so we'll go on to him. Now, total honesty, fellas, before Googling and YouTube, had you heard of Wilson Isidore or whatever his name is? No.
Is this like on those... oh, go on.
Yeah, he's a top lad. I've seen him score goals left, right, and centre, particularly in the Russian league. No, I'm talking about no, I was about to say,
it's not going to be like those ones on the Spurs channels where they're like, have you seen that empty cabinet that's on his way to Spurs? And you're like, empty cabinet, well done.
So obviously none of us have really heard of him. So, I mean, we've got stats, right? That's all we can go off.
I hadn't heard of Mendy, though, before we went after him. Half of these ones we don't hear about. Arguably, any of the signings that we've made recently, I hadn't heard of any of them before we came in. Like, you'd never heard of Mayenda, Hamia, Rusin.
What I'm hearing about this guy is, we're looking at him as a striker, but if you look at his record, he's played left wing more than anything else. He's got like more or less almost the same amount of goals being a left wing and right winger than he has been a centre forward.
We're going to play him like Henry, where he arrived as a winger and made him a striker.
Possibly, but he's not been a prolific goal scorer. 14 appearances last year in Premier League, 2 goals. 7 appearances in the Russian Cup.
Sounds perfect.
And then this season so far, 5 appearances total with 2 goals. So I don't know. It doesn't feel like the somebody that's going to jump straight in and knock Mayenda out the squad. What's your thoughts, Jacob? Is this another let's develop? Because he can't be a development player. How old is he?
Well, it's only a loan deal as well, isn't it?
It's a loan with an obligation to buy.
Obligation.
Not an option, an obligation to buy, apparently.
We last fell for that with Ricky Alvarez, and we're still paying for it now.
I thought that was dead in the water, that whole cause.
I don't know. It crops up every now and again that we owe them another few million, doesn't it? Every now and again it rears its head again.
Yeah.
Well, he's only 23, former French under-21s international. I don't think he's got any caps for the senior team. So, I mean, have you looked at him? Have you looked at any of the highlight clips either he is? Feel free to jump in and speak up.
I know that I think watching some clips today, he does take the odd penalty as well, which would be nice to have a backup for Clark in that department. That's one thing I have.
Yeah.
I imagine Bellingham's going to probably take penalties if Clark was to go. I don't know why. I just get the feeling that he would step up with that responsibility. I wouldn't trust Roberts with it, if that makes sense.
Though I wouldn't mind it, I'm always sceptical of left footers on penalties. I don't know what it is.
Like him or Mayenda, because they're both left footers. I'm a bit like, anyone else?
But
is that because of Mickey Gray back at Charlton, though? Are we a bit worried about that?
I would still go with Roberts purely just for the confidence. I think he would have just that little bit more than Bellingham on the spot.
And his set pieces have been on point this season, in fairness. We can't, apart from that one the other day where Clark caught him offside from his own corner. That was just embarrassing, that. Right in your corner, that was, Jacob, offside from their own corner.
We couldn't believe it. Was literally just... So you don't see stuff like that in Sunday League.
No. it was very schoolyard, wasn't it? It was very.
It was just like, wow, okay, guys. Like
maybe they thought they can get away with it because at this level and above, they don't call for a foul throw, do they? You see so many foul throws in the Premier League. That
there was one on Sunday from a Chef Webb player. It was comical. I think it was in the second half, and.
It doesn't get called, does it? It's just
he was basically on the pitch when he threw the ball.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
Doesn't matter. We won 4-0 anyway.
No.
Yeah. Is this a bubble we're in? Is this going to bust? I read it's the best start since 1972 under Bob Stoker.
Well, if we so the best season I remember was, I think it was like 9-10 maybe, when we won 2 out of the 3 games at the start. We beat Bolton away, lost to Chelsea at home, and beat Blackburn at home. So it was like 6 from 9 in a Premier League team for us, which was like unheard of. So if we can even get a point against Burnley, and I don't see why we shouldn't be trying to beat them at home, then yeah, it's got to be one of our best starts, no matter which league we're in, really, and especially the way we're playing. It's going to be a hard game. We've sort of gone up a level in competition each sort of game. So, but if we can get through Burnley undefeated at least, there's no reason we.
If we could beat Burnley, nobody could stop us.
Yeah, if we beat, I think you said in the chat on the game when it finished on Saturday or Sunday, sorry, when it was on, we've got that thing we had under Mowbray where we don't fear any team that we're playing. And I think if we can go in, we don't need to show Burnley respect like too much. We can just go, we're actually a really good side, and you need to acknowledge us. Very Roman Reigns there, but you just need to acknowledge what we can do. It's still going to be hard for us, but I think from what I've seen so far, I don't think Lebrie's going to fold under the pressure from it. And I don't think our average age midfield of 19 is going to fold under that pressure either. They're all, fantastic. And I think we were saying the other day that our defence can only get better when our actual first choice centre-back comes back in as well, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's 2 titans, as it were, technically at this level, because we both had great results for the first 2 games. Burnley's 5-0 and 4-1. So they've had 2 but saying that, did you see the Cardiff game with Burnley?
No.
They absolutely wiped the floor of them.
But first goal was a pass back to the keeper. A really slow pass back to the keeper. And it was like, it trickled, it touched his foot, and it just rolled into the net. And it's like, I think with a different keeper, Cardiff might have put up a fight.
The keeper was almost an issue in our game as well. I think they mentioned a few times, but he still managed to do that. What looks like now a really good save from Mayenda, but now that we've seen his left foot and what he can actually do in bending it round, we still think he should have shot that way, not near post against Cardiff.
Yeah. Yeah. So going on to Burnley, any changes to the team? Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jacob?
Going by you, Mike, mate, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I know there was, I don't know what the extent was in terms of Brown's injury. I think it was sustained, the day before.
As far as I'm aware, it was just a knock, and it was only for that game.
Yeah, consider he's one of the more older lads in the squad. I think it doesn't surprise me that he was given a rest from the squad completely for the game on Sunday. But if he is available, I think he'll be on the bench at least, and it will be an unchanged team.
You think he'll be on the bench?
He averaged, I think, for Preston, he averaged about 30-plus games a season. So even if he misses the odd one here or there, you're going to have him for the majority of the season. And that he was there way over 5 to 7 years over with them. And you're averaging that many games a season. It's not the norm for him to be injured and out for a long time. But Rick stepped in without even any sort of issues whatsoever. I mean, Philly even said the other day, and Philly's a lot older than we are, and he was saying that it's arguably the best sort of young player coming through that he's ever seen.
But that competition for places in the centre is ridiculous now, right? I mean, Ekwar's no chance, right?
No,
I think going to get a sniff.
Considering at the end of last season we were talking about, well, Ekwar should be in the team, Neil, Job, this is the rig as well, and we everyone was pretty much happy with that. And then now we're talking about Ekwar as the one we'd use as a financial gain if we were sell him.
I think he'll be gone before the end of the window.
I get that feeling because I think he's the one we can go, actually, we can afford to lose you and still make a bit of money because we've got you on a free. I think West Ham have a sell-on percentage from his deal, though. I think that tends to be how we get our players at the moment, that they retain some sort of thing later on. Yeah. So I imagine they'll have 30 or 40% at a guess.
That'd be a bit harsh. I'd say 20, maybe 20, 30.
But if you're taking him for free, I don't know what about the wages and that there. For them just to go, okay, you do all the legwork, we'll just let you have him for nothing, but we want this stuff. Because they might go, actually, he could turn into a good player here, right? I think 30 is probably where they're at with it.
Yeah. Possibly. On the players, it looks like Clark's getting more and more interest off other clubs. Can we hold on to him? Do you reckon, Jacob?
Well, there's more confidence in that tonight because Leeds, who are one of the clubs linked with him, they've agreed a deal for a left winger from Almeria.
A right-footed left winger as well.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one
out of the equation, I think. But we've still got how many days left now? 10?
9. It's the 30th. Yeah.
Oh, so it's the Friday.
8 if you're watching this for tomorrow.
Actually, if you're watching it on Thursday, it's
or listening to us on Spotify.
I saw it before, that player that they were after, but I can't find it now to get his name on. But yes,
I heard literally just before we came on that Celtic were interested in him as well. In Clark. So
they won't pay the fee that we're going to be asking for, I don't think.
No, exactly. And the only thing is for them that he has potential of 2 games of Champions League football a season before they get knocked out. But I don't know, I think we'll end up signing him on a new deal. But we'll sort of say to him, you go next season. Man United used to do it all the time with their better players. They'd go, right, sign a 5-year deal, but we've got an agreement you can actually leave next season. It just protects us that bit more from being ripped off from clubs. I think we'll probably say to him, sign a 2-year extension, so technically you're on a 3-year deal. And at the end of the season, we'll let you go so that clubs can't rip us off because you've got 2 years left to go.
Yeah. You know what I think also, I mean, this is quite a bit of a downgrade comment. I think it was that performance against Premier League opposition in the derby that may have lowered his price tag a little bit, lowered the interest from Premier League clubs. I think that was his chance to really make his claim that he could be one of big interest for a Premier League side the following season. But against stuff, I think it was Kieran Trippier who was up against him in that game, and also Dan Burn, I think, man-marked him on the odd occasion. Never really got a sniff, and I think it just shows that he's got a bit more to do if he's going to progress a level. I think he would benefit more from being in this division for at least one more season.
I'll give him benefit of the doubt, though, and say under Beale ball, I don't think any of us had any good sessions there. I mean, he scored a goal against Hull away, under Beale and we won. But if you actually remember the goal, it was literally our one thing of give it to Clark, and he just ran in, cut inside and shot. That was his trademark. So you put him up against harder oppositions when he's got no tactics, no idea what he's doing. And yeah, surprisingly enough, a Premier League defender marked him out of the game. And no one in that game really had a great game, and that's because we were set up absolutely shocking. Let's play out from the back against one of the most high-pressing teams in Europe because we're better than when they were playing PSG and Dortmund. Yeah, we're better than that. All right, mate. Like, it just that was straight away. Like, that was almost the final nail in Beale's coffin, and he'd been there 4 weeks. Like, it was ridiculous.
They'd started measuring up for that coffin when he walked through the door. Is it all Labrie though? Is he getting the best out of the players now? Because Job looks so off it at the end of last season. Everyone was kind of Roberts. People were after Roberts being sold, and all of them seem to be stepping up much more now. Is that all the Labrie effect?
I think it is.
So. Yeah, you have to remember with Job, I thought he was managed poorly at times last season as well.
I think Mowbray didn't know really where to squeeze him into the team because Mowbray was playing him as false 9, then he was trying him in the centre, and it just didn't really work. And then obviously when Mowbray spoke out, it went to Beale, who had no idea what football was, and then it went to Dodds, who had a slight idea of what football was but didn't do it very well and got us over the line. But it seems like the Breeze sort of seen something in him that we didn't. We all said, he needs to be further up the pitch. And actually, the Breeze proved us all wrong and said, no, he needs to be further back. He needs to be the battling engine of this team and driving us forward because he's had 2 absolutely fantastic games for us.
Yeah. And it's nice to have a player who can play back like that, but be able to push forward, and we know he's also got goals in him. He's got that wonder goal in him. He always proved me wrong every time I did commentary saying, he's rubbish, he'd score 2 minutes later.
Was it the Southampton game last season, the away one? Mundell got one and then Joe curled one in from 20 yards or so.
It's like, I'll shut up and walk away now. Mundell, though. Let's speak on Mundell very quickly. In the fear of losing Jack Clark, would you have Mundell straight in?
It'll be our best option there. This moment in time.
Best up? Do you think we should sign someone? I think Mundell looks better than Clark did when we first started Clark, to be fair.
You think Clark wasn't even getting in the team in League One?
No, he was eased in slowly, which is Mundell's going through the same sort of process at the minute, but I think Mundell's may have had slightly more minutes, I think.
And when he's on, he's got what a workhorse he is. He's got an engine on him. It's like the game the other day, people were saying, he didn't control that ball down the wing. But the speed he got to it, no other player on the pitch would have even got to that ball to attempt to control it. He's just got something about him. It's like, it might be a lot of running in the wrong direction at the moment, but at least he's running. But with some guidance, I think he's going to be an awesome player.
I think with some minutes as well, an actual start here and there and some consistent games, I think he'd get better as well for us now. Granted, to do that probably means that Clark has to go for that. He's
the only person related to Sunderland that sat there hoping a bid comes through for Clark.
Yeah, exactly, because he ain't going to take Roberts' place because we've seen him on that side. I hope he does get a go, and I think he looks like a really good player. Will he force his way into this team? Not without Clark going, I don't think. And if Clark goes, then yes, he's the most sort of ready-made replacement in that position.
Listen, as long as he's happy where he is, I'm happy because we can keep Clark as long as possible. I don't want Mundell to move on because he is going to be the replacement for him. But it's whether Mundell gets sick of that.
It'll be interesting to see also because right now he is an option coming off the bench, whether he's tried more on the side Roberts plays because we all know about Roberts when he's fully fit, he's unstoppable at times. But I think Labrie will have to account his injury record from last season, where we've got someone who can fill in on that right-hand side as well.
Paveda just did 45 minutes against
the Mags the other night.
Yeah, against the Mags the other night. So he's probably not far away from at least being on the bench and coming on for Roberts, because it's been Bar lately, but I think Poveda will be given a chance over Bar, I would have said.
Why has there been no talk of selling Bar? He doesn't seem to be able to break into this team, no matter how many chances he gets.
I think after watching some recent performances, I think it's a struggle to work out who's gonna want to pay some sort of fee for him right now.
It's weird. It's one of those, you want to loan him out to a team in this division to get him to play. So someone like Plymouth, someone like, Derby County, where they're not expected to win the games, but he's going to get a constant run at it, and do better. Not like when we loaned Embleton out to Blackpool, who did better than us, in League One, and we don't want to be doing that. But because you loan someone out to League One, it's not the same game, as we know from 4 years down in there.
It's been a massive drop off from that goal he scored at QPR last season, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
a shame
30 seconds against Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. He does have them moments of brilliance. It's just not consistent, is it? And it's chicken and egg, though. Is it because he's not getting the game time that he's not consistent? Is the other argument, I suppose, to that.
Yeah.
So, what's your let's we don't usually do predictions, but I'm really curious. How do you think it's going to go?
We do. We can start them here.
We can start them here. What's your predictions for Burnley?
I'm going to listen this time, Mike.
Conrad, you go first.
I'm going to say 1-0 to Sunderland.
Oof, that's a tight game from two high-scoring teams.
I think it's going to be like. I think it's going to be like two teams, not cancelling each other out. Like when you watch Premier League big games. I think it's just going to be two quality teams not wanting to give each other a sort of a chance, really, because we both know we're free scoring, and I just think we're just going to edge it, and I don't think we concede. I just don't see it.
Interesting. Jacob?
I think it could be something outrageous, I mean... You
said that, Mike.
Yeah,
I think it could be something along the lines of like a 4-2 or 4-3. But I'm undecided whether we'll be on the losing end or the winning end of it. But
I need to know.
We need a prediction.
I think we're in for a cracking game of footy on Saturday. You know what I'm going to say?
I need a name.
I reckon it could be bold. I reckon it could be like 3s each. I really do.
I'm going to go with 3 each.
Well, I went even more ridiculous than you, Jacob.
You went for a 9-goal thriller.
Yeah, 5-4 to Sunderland. It's going to be goals.
It just has that feeling of it, doesn't it?
Just
like it's gonna. Is it because it's so early in the season that we're both a bit like it doesn't really matter? We've got time that we're just gonna go. Let's just go balls to the wall for it and just see what happens.
Because I'm doing commentary on my own, and if it's a 0-0 draw, I'm gonna be like,
I mean, I feel like I sound like that even when we were 4-0 the other day.
Gotta show the excitement.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell
Channel
you
your inner Terry.
People when we're 4-0 up on the left hand side.
I'll tell you what people had so far. So Philly went for 2-1 Sunderland this time. I made sure I listened. Emma said 0-0. Mikey said 5-4 to Sunderland. Terry said 2-1 Sunderland. And I said 1-0, Jacob 3-3. We need Wayne's. Wayne, we're coming for your prediction.
Yeah. Terry you had to beat that out of Terry, though. He definitely wanted to say that we were going to lose.
Yeah, he definitely thinks it's going to be a draw or we'll lose, but he just wouldn't say it.
He wouldn't say it.
I think I need to throw some more draws in this season. I think every time I've done it, I've always just gone for a win. But I need to be a little bit more skeptical.
I mean, every game so far, I've got the amount of goals right. So the first game I said 2-0 Sunderland, and it was. Second game, I said 2-0 Sunderland, but it was 2-0 to Preston. The third game, I said it was going to be 2-2, 4-0, same amount of goals. So
there's no extra points for that.
No
I know
points
you
for
make
that,
up the rules on the fly, but you can't have extra points for that one.
I also make up what Philly said as well.
Yeah.
I think the players will be just so grateful they're going back to the Stadium of Light, which just looked magnificent on Sunday.
How did the safe standing look, by the way? Because you can see it on the screen, but I want to sort of see what it looks like when we score. Like, what's it like?
There were features that deserve a mention on this. The safe standing, like the actual metal bars that were put in the Roker end, they look really good. I think over the course, I think it will slowly take time, but I think the atmosphere could be electric in there, particularly if we're doing well come the next few months. I think it'll be bouncing. The flag display was brilliant. The speaker system, the new speaker system when Dance of the Nights was played was brilliant. Rory doing his team announcements. They've got a new PA system for that. That sounded stunning. I
heard him in the background, actually. I was like, that's not Frankie.
No, it was brilliant. The new, because people kicked off about the fact the signal in the stadium wasn't great last week. That was really good as well. Sending texts at halftime went through straight away. The pitch was stunning. It looked absolutely brilliant. And one feature I really, really like the fact, we went back to red and white goal nets compared to the all white that we had.
It just adds that little thing to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's something about, don't get me wrong, I love completely white goal nets, but the red and white goal nets, that they just looked more crisp in that stadium. They just looked like they belong in that ground.
Yeah.
Importantly, has the food changed, and can you dry your hands in the toilets?
They've made some adjustments in the toilet. The hand dryers in particular, I think there was talk that some weren't working last season. Didn't have food in the ground this time, but they've got new beers on as well, particularly from the local.
They've got Vaux,
brewing.
haven't they? They've got Vaux back as
They might be in trouble with that, though. I don't know if you've been seeing.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
What's that?
The previous one, whoever it was, who we had there, it was some sort of Sunderland brand as well. We've sort of pushed them out to get Vaux in, but they were like, well, we still have an agreement in place to do all this, so...
Somebody will get paid off. It'll be fine. So anyway, I think that's about it. I don't think we've got much else to talk about. This will probably go out tomorrow, and we'll have already made the signings of new strikers. So again, we'll be out of date. But just bear in mind, everyone, this was recorded on the 21st in the evening. Don't forget, if you're new to us on Spotify, you can make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. If you're new on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff, and consider becoming a member. Conrad, would you like to say goodbye to the people, watchers and listeners?
Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you on Saturday for a live stream with Mike's beautiful voice doing the game there. I'll try and join from the stadium at halftime, I think, and just sort of see how you're getting on, just to sort of break it up, because I know you like a break sometime as well when you go to the loo, so that's fine. And if you're a member, you'll see the predictions video out tomorrow, so you can get yours in as well. I think Bradley, one of our members, joined in last time and said 2-1 to Sunderland, so you'd have got 2 points for that one. So you're on the leaderboard. You're ahead of Terry so far. He's got no points, so you're doing well. Goodbye, everyone, and keep an eye out for all the content we got coming up.
Jacob?
Yeah, goodbye, everyone. I hope you enjoy the game on Saturday. And as I always say, keep the faith. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tune into the live stream on Saturday, and also the Sunday Bunch on Sunday.
Excellent. Thank you. There's nothing more for me to say. You've said it all for me. So other than that, thanks very much. Goodbye.